Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pink Table Talk. I am your host, Lorea Reid, and we are back with great content for women, for us, by us. And I am so excited that you all are tuning in with us today. You know the routine. You've got to start sharing this and you've got to like this. Make sure that you follow Hope TV as well as the House of Hope Atlanta so that you can follow us, the Pink Table Talk online, as well as our church family, the House of Hope Atlanta, for great content. We've got shows. Everything you need right here is on Hope TV. So make sure you do that. Today, ladies, we have our topic. Let me say this. Our topic is entitled Dream Girls. And we're talking to women who have pursued their dreams, who've gone after it. So if you're a woman who's right now, you may be in a place where you feel like you're trying to pursue your dream, but you really haven't hit the accelerator on it, or you're just kind of sitting on a great idea, but you're kind of nervous about getting started, or you don't know what to do. This is for you. So call your girlfriends, text them, let them know that we're on and that we've got two phenomenal women who are here to speak with us today about how they got started, how their journey has been, and just to encourage and inspire us. So again, we're talking about Dream Girls. So go ahead on, make sure that you subscribe to Hope TV and that you begin sharing this. So let me go ahead on and introduce our guest today. Our first guest, of course, she's a woman of hope with the Women of Hope team. So, of course, I'm already kind of biased with her. She even dressed like me today, y'all, and we didn't know we were going to do it. I'm so excited about that. She's the Vice President of Dell Technologies North America Field Sales. So she's extremely important in the boardroom. But what I love about her is that she's down to earth. You would never know. I didn't know what Jackie did. I'm telling you her name already. I didn't know what she did until somebody said, she's a big deal, right? And I was like, what? I had no clue because she's such a humble, beautiful spirit. So would you guys welcome Miss Jackie McKinley? Hey, Miss Jackie.
Thank you for having me today. I'm really excited to be part of Hope TV and just being able to just give back. And thank you for all that you're doing, Lorea. So very excited to be here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And our next guest, I just told her she is Beyonce and we are Destiny's Child today. You all see that background? How beautiful it is. I love it. She is a creative who is just inspiring, and she lives by faith and forges in her passion as well. She is sought after by various platforms, and I'm sure you've seen her artwork and may not have known it was hers, but she's had the likes of BET, Essence, Spanx, and Nike who sought after her for her beautiful art, as well as many others that we can't even name on the list. I mean, she is everywhere. She brings vibrant energy. We love her spirit. She's also a member of the House of Hope Atlanta. We're so glad to have her. Would you all welcome Miss Melissa Mitchell? Hey, Melissa.
Hi, ladies. Thank you for having me back. I'm looking forward to a wonderful afternoon, evening of just inspiring one another to do some greater things with our lives.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, you guys, I really wanted the two of you all to come. I have some friends as well as just knowing women in general. A lot of times, and I really love the Netflix show. Well, it's not a show, the movie with Madam C.J. Walker. And they talk about how she got her start and what her passion was. And she kind of was thrust into it and ended up doing really well and was one of the first she was the first African-American millionaire and all of those things. It's not necessarily about the money, but the journey. So I want to ask the two of you guys, and I'll start with you, Jackie. How did you get your start? You're in the boardroom right now and you do other things as well, but how did you even get a start in doing what you do now?
Thanks for asking that question. You made me think about my career over the last 25 years. And what I want to tell everybody is I started out paying the bills for a company, for IBM. And I had to take a position and take a step back because they didn't have the position that I wanted. When I look at what my journey was, I started paying the bills. And when I paid the bills for the company, I had a chance to take a look at all the people I had the opportunity to meet as a result of them having to come to my window at an IBM branch office. And then I said, you know what? I like what this person does. I like what that person does. And it opened my eyes to a whole new arena of careers. And a long story made short, I started this project management career. I was the first one that IBM let convert over from an administrative position. And because I asked the question, I had to believe that I was worthy, I was valued, that I could, because nobody else had ever transitioned from administration to a technical position. I did the work, I met the people, I networked. And on that project, what was awesome was I started helping this big company, a bank, I won't mention the bank, and I didn't know that I had the propensity to be a salesperson. And at the end of this very tough project, it was a very intense project, and we delivered the project on time. And at the end, the customer said, have you ever considered a position in sales? I'm like, sales? Who wants sales? She said, because of what you had to do in this role, you had to be a leader to get the project on track. You had to be a problem solver. You had to collaborate. You had a lot of things. And I see that you have sales in your future. This is a customer telling me this.
Wow.
And you know who's watching you. And because that person gave my name to a recruiter came after me and said, we want to have you go in this position. It changed my life because someone saw some things in me that I didn't see in myself. And it changed the whole trajectory of my career.
Wow. That's so exciting to hear, especially being, in corporate America, because you can still climb that ladder within that. Thank you for that. And Melissa, what about you? How did you get your start? I mean, just looking at your wall behind you and your art, it's just I love it. But how did you even get your start in this? Did you know this from childbirth, when you were born? I mean, how did you get your start?
Well, I had to correct myself by saying that I became an artist by mistake, because obviously this was something that was placed on my life and I finally found it. And so I was always, we were laughing about color earlier. I was always the little girl in hot pink boots with my uniform, always getting my prom dress and adding some fur to it. So I always had this very artistic, very expressive flair. And so when my father passed away, trying to figure out what my why was in life, and then I literally heard the word say paint. And so I had some wood and some supplies in the garage, and I just started doodling, putting it on social media, telling my friends, LOL, I'm an artist. And I got DMs from people saying, hey, I would buy that for $25, $50 to $100. And I was like, if I did this 10 or 15 times, this might be a thing. And so I went on to create about 100 pieces that year. And then at the same time, I had just cut my hair off, and I was like, I need to figure out how to wear my hair with my conditioner on it at these shows. I'm not washing my hair out to go out. And so I said, I need to come up with head wraps. And so I studied how to get fabric and art merged into one process. And so I launched my head wrap line in 2016. And on my dream board, I had Lupita Nyong'o, and I said, one day I want my head wraps to end up on Lupita. And so I said, well, I'm just going to take a leap of faith and go email her people. And so I did that night. Within 2 or 3 days, I got a response. I sent a package to Europe. And 6 months later, she showed up in Vogue magazine in one of my head wraps. And so I would like to say that my career is literally grounded and founded and is sustained by faith. I just take a lot of out of the ordinary leaps of faith, and God just catches me right when I get, leave the cliff. So it's one of the most beautiful journeys that I have had, even with the yes, the no's, whatever it's been. I always go back to, I didn't even mean to do this. So anything God gives me from this is a bonus, right? And so here we are 6 years later. My stuff is all over the world. I have a car that I won by being an artist. My bras are sold all over the world with Spanx. I'm working on another global deal right now. So it's just been an incredible story of faith. And so I always tell people that I traded my pulpit for a paintbrush, because I'm a daughter of two pastors. And as you can see, I'm a little more colorful and a little more vibrant than most pulpits would allow. And so I was like, well, I want to be in the church. And God was like, oh, you're going to be in the church, but I'm going to trick you. And so every time I get a paintbrush, I was like, wait a minute, am I preaching by mistake? And so I'm in non-traditional Christian religious settings talking about God. I'm on Essence stage telling people about faith. And after the show, I said, well, I want to know about this God you serve. I said, well, come walk with me for a minute. And so I'm giving this out at Essence Festival, so my level of wisdom and reaching the hearts of man goes beyond the pulpit. So I'm just grateful that the paintbrush has been transformed to something bigger than what I ever imagined.
Yeah. Because I believe that's what God gives us gifts and talents and things for, is really for his glory. It's just our way of getting to it, but a lot of times we want things just for ourselves. Lord bless me to be big like Melissa, but I don't give him any glory in anything. And I don't believe that he gives us those talents and gifts for that. And in speaking about that, I know that the journey has many ups and downs. And I want to talk about it from a realistic standpoint from the two of you. I know that you may have had setbacks at some point in time. So how do you work through those? Because I know even during the quarantine, we have many ladies who have businesses or have lost jobs, or they've just had times right now where it's been hard for them. So what would you say to someone who's going through the setback time where they didn't receive the promotion, Jackie or Melissa? They've been trying hard to get their name out, but it just hadn't clicked yet. So what would you say to that person? And I'll start with Jackie.
Sure. And my career has been full of exactly what you talked about. And I look at where I came from, paying bills, and then God navigated me to go into being a director, and I then go from director to a vice president. Every time along the way, every time a promotion comes, just get prepared for some adversity. I think I heard Pastor Dewey talk about that. And I can tell you, you have to have the adversity to build your muscles. It's getting you ready for that, getting me ready for that next level. And if without the courage, I would say integrity. You got to have courage. But most importantly, Melissa said, you have to have faith. My whole career has been based on faith. And it's not about me. What I've learned about my career, it's not what I want. I always say, Lord, help me make sure that I'm impacting somebody else's life. When I take the focus off of what I felt like I deserved, because there were times I didn't get the promotion, but God knew He closed that door for a reason. As I look back over my career, every door that was closed, something better came along, but I had to wait. What do you do when you're waiting? How do you respond when you're waiting? And what I found for me, people watch. You can say you're a Christian, and people know in the corporate world, I don't have to say it. My life demonstrates that. And they watch. When I didn't get a promotion, will she be the same positive person? Absolutely, because I had to have the mindset, God, this door was closed for a reason. And the truth is, for those people, the women who are out there waiting, Lorea, I would say, trust God. It's one thing to trust God in our words, but I have to trust God every step of the way. Every promotion, I did get every promotion I got. It was really, Lord, what do you want me to do while I'm waiting? You want to still be active, still be working on yourself. And when that promotion comes, it made me get ready for it. I think it's called training to reign, REIGN, was Pastor Dewey said yesterday. And that's what my waiting period was, get me prepared. And when you're handling that adversity, you have to surround yourself with a lot of supportive people. I have sisters. I have a lot of great sisters, biological and sisters. I surround myself. Iron sharpens iron. So surround yourself with really good people to handle that adversity. Pray a whole lot. Stay in that word and get some allies and keep working on yourself. Get feedback to find out what can I start doing. Be a lifelong learner. So I do all those types of things that handle that adversity, because it's going to come. Every promotion brings it. Just got to get prepared mentally and just know God is still with you.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And Melissa, what about you? How do you handle your setbacks?
Well, I mean, this has been, you see, I always say people see the glory, but they don't know the story. Just to make it more relevant, at the top of the year, I get the notification that I finally get the art show at the mayor's office, the Covenant Mayor's Gallery, where I get to fill the gallery of 30 original pieces that will be seen by all of the city. Everybody will be there. All the great things will happen. And so originally my show was going to be around January 15th. Then it got moved to like February 4th. And then it got moved to the end of February. And they said, oh, well, don't worry about it. You'll get to do your show around, let's say, what was it, like March 12th? I think my show was going to be March 11th. But you all know March 11th is when the quarantine and the corona hit its peak. So I'm waiting for a year to get this show. And now they're telling me, now I not have my show. I have 30 pieces right now that are in the mayor's office that I can't really get to because of the quarantine. So naturally I was like, well, Lord, what are you saying? I worked a year for these pieces. What am I going to do? And God was just saying, you're now going to have the longest running show in the mayor's. So now it's been there for about 3 or 4 months. So on top of it, I had to figure out how I was going to pivot because I couldn't really ship. I couldn't leave the house. And so God said, it's time for you to make a pivot. And so that's when God gave me the idea of putting my art on mask. And so since that pivot,
I love
all
it.
over the world. Sold a couple of thousand in 4 weeks, and they are now been shipped all over the world. And so every 3 days, I have 4 to 5 garbage bags full of orders that I give to my postman, who now have to come to my house. It's overwhelming for the mailman. So my testimony with that is I didn't sit in that funk too long, because I was like, God, what are you showing me? What are you teaching me? Like, what's coming out of this? And God was like, you have all that fabric that you're starting to make head wraps with. So a $55 head wrap can almost warrant me 30 masks at $25. So God said, not only I'm going to teach you to pivot, I'm going to multiply what you already have. So I had fabric in every closet in my house, and I turned them all into masks. And so with that, I also was at home, because I live alone, I have family here. So after the quarantine hit its peak, I said, I need to go back to my house to figure out what God is saying. So within 3 or 4 days of being home, God told me to write a book. And I'm like, I'm not in the book mood. I'm not ready to do that. And so I kept having this inkling to have a book. And so I was on the phone with a friend of mine. I said, I'm going to write a book tonight. He was like, okay, yeah, right. So I woke up that night. I sat up for about 9 hours. I took the next day off, and I wrote a book the next day. And I have a coloring book that teaches you how to manifest and speak things over your life. So
I love it.
I book published with all the quotes and the mantras that I tell myself. And so God is saying to me that in this season, I'm going to multiply that which you have versus me bemoaning about what I've lost. So I sold out of masks and books in 3 hours on my birthday, May 11th, 2 Mondays ago. And now I had to go to global publishing through Amazon. So Amazon sells it now. Walmart, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, and Thrift Books now carries my book within a month.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. So my pivot went from, oh, what about the God was like, girl, I got something else for you. Not knowing a month later he would give me a book, and then a month later the books be sold all over the world. So my testimony to you is go a little deeper in that roadblock. Like, it might be something on the other side that's saying, let me sit back and figure out what I need to do. And so for me, I stopped getting upset when things don't work out, because I'm like, okay, what you trying to teach me here? So I'll go for a walk, I'll go water my garden and kind of wait for God's voice. And even if I don't hear his voice, I still trust that I will hear it eventually. Yeah. And then I press my way. I'll wait for another ingenious idea to make me a thousandaire. I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm a thousandaire.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. I mean, it's all about mindset and perspective, especially during quarantine time. To don't allow this time to make you feel like you're in a holding cell. This is a very protected cocoon that we're in right now. So it's exciting for me as a creative. I'm like, oh, I get to stay home and create. Some days are harder than others, but I know that out of this, something greater is going to emerge.
That's amazing.
Can I add something else, Lorea?
Yes, of course.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to share my testimony in this quarantine time. Right before the quarantine really went into effect, I say March 3rd through 5th, I had come back from Las Vegas for the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit. And I was excited about the way my career was getting ready to pivot. I was going to go from sales into a diversity and inclusion role to start really making a difference for Black and brown people and for Dell Technologies. And all of a sudden, everything came to a halt because of COVID-19. And I'm like, wow, God, my mind was one way. But he said, you know what? I'm shifting you. I'm making you think differently. So I was reassigned to do some special assignments. But in this quarantine, what God had me do is to take a look and say, how can you still make a difference, knowing the impact that Black and brown communities are having for job creations? So I've been blessed. God took me to start focusing on HBCUs right now, to start to have their students prepare for technical careers. We just launched a pilot last week, and I didn't know this was all on the horizon. God said, nope, I want you doing this in this quarantine time. He's allowed me to pivot, take a career shift that I hadn't planned on taking. But it was really asking God, show me what you want to do in this time and make the best use of my skills. And it's been exciting. It's been a journey of faith, of trusting God, to know that I have to depend on him to show me what that next move is. So it's been a major trust journey right now. But I see that he's allowing me to look at what one HBCU is doing, and now be able to expand it to so many more Black and brown schools to help them get their students ready for the next millennium, the next year, the next 5 years. So it's been exciting, but scary at the same time because it took courage and it took faith and trust in God.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. It sounds like the two of you guys have been doing a lot of pivoting in the right direction. I read this book and it talked about how they interviewed I can't remember his name that wrote the book, but he talked about highly successful people, and what they do is when things go awry and things aren't where they should be, they figure out a way to move forward. And I believe that that's exemplary of the two of you guys. What you do is you just kind of take the lemons, make the lemonade, add the sugar, and do what you got to do to keep pushing forward. So thank you for that. I really appreciate the two of you sharing that. And in doing that, I want to talk about inspiration. As women, we all have people who inspire us. So I want to talk about who inspires you and what inspires you. Is it a thing? Is it a person? Is it, I know God does, but what physically inspires you? Is it a walk? Is it a whoever it may be in your life? And I'll start with you, Melissa. What inspires you and who inspires you?
I mean, I always would say cliche, my parents or, life, but as of late, I've gotten a green thumb. And so I'm not really big. I always bought fresh flowers and brought them home and did all these different things with them. So I was always excited about flowers. And so recently, obviously being stuck at home, I wanted to beautify my land. And so I went to Home Depot. I said, I'm going to grow me some roses. I'm going to just grow roses. They're pretty. They should be easy to do. So as soon as I got them, I put them in the ground. I followed all the instructions and they started dying. I was like, wait a minute. Nah, I read the instructions. I got all the stuff I'm supposed to get. And so I just still kept going outside every day and watered those roses. And so over time, I just watered, and this took about 3 or 4 weeks. And so one day I pulled up, I was like, oh my God, I have a rose. I got excited.
Wow.
And so the next day I had 5 roses, came back the next day, had 10 roses. And so God was just showing me that even the dead situations that you think aren't going to work out, you still have to cultivate them. You still have to pray. You still have to meditate. You still have to fast, because you will get what you're supposed to out of it. And so now I don't even have to go to the different flower shops to get flowers. I have a budding rose garden in my own yard that I'm going to water now. But God was just showing me that you don't have to go very far for what you're looking for, because many times it's right at your front door. And so now my roses are my everyday routine. So not only am I getting cardio, being outside, getting my vitamin D and my melanin activated, but my faith is renewed every time I go outside and water my flower. I'm like, oh, which flower's gonna pop up tomorrow? So now I have lilies, I have hibiscus, I have some other plant I thought was cute. I don't even know the name of, but it's growing. And so it went from just putting the seed in the ground to now seeing actual budding and real living beings. And so that just was such a testament of my faith, because I'm like, nobody sees what I'm doing at night. Nobody sees it. And then now I have stuff sold all over the world in a month's time. So it's almost the same process for it. So right now, flowers are my inspiration.
Wow, that's amazing. And what about you, Jackie?
So for me, I would say walking. But before I say walking, let me start out with my mom. My mother's 94 years young, and Lorea probably knows. I used to go see her every single month. She's in North Carolina, but I haven't been able to see her, but I talk to her every day. And she's my why, and my 2 daughters. I have 2 adult daughters, and they motivate me to make sure that I'm the best role model I can be for them, and they inspire me. And then on top of that, the walks, I have been able during this quarantine to slow down. God had to get me off the road. I was traveling 1 million miles via the airlines last year, and I logged 1 million miles the year before. So I was living out of a suitcase a whole lot. And so when the quarantine came, being able to just take my breath, be able to sit back, I take 2 walks a day, in the morning and the afternoon, and I commune with God. And sometimes I have this really great devotion book. I walk in my subdivision and a subdivision across the street, and I just talk and commune, and I hear God. Before I would talk a lot, but now I listen. And I hear, it's so clear that he's like, God is talking right to me. So I say the melanin and the sunshine, the vitamin D I get, that's just a benefit. But the time I've been able to slow down, I enjoy connecting with people that I was really too busy to connect with before. I see my neighbors. I am able to just be more thoughtful, and I'm just to be able to restore my soul in my walks. It's a restore. me. So the walks have been just rejuvenating time for me, and I love their precious.
Wow. Wow. Look, I'm like, I want me a garden and I want to take a walk. I'm listening. You guys just made that sound so good. I'm like, oh, I need me a garden and I need to go walking a little more. That sounds really good. But my question is, what would you say? We have a lot of women watching now and listening, and they're looking at your lives and saying, yeah, but how do I get started? Or what would you say to me? So what I want you, the two of you, to do is to just give words of inspiration to a woman who's kind of sitting on the fence. She may be a creative like you, Melissa, or she may be in the boardroom like you, Jackie, and she's just kind of gotten complacent in where she is and just needs that extra push. What would you say to her? And whichever one wants to start first.
I'll start, Melissa.
Go ahead.
I want to tell the women, first of all, words that I know I don't hear that often. I want to tell the women first, you're valued. I want to tell you that you're important. I want to tell you that you're brilliant. I want to tell you that you're talented. I want to tell you that you're worthy, that you're deserving, and you're more than enough. And I found I mentor, I coach, and women don't hear that. And I want to say, look and see what's stopping you. And fear is false evidence appearing real. God's giving you some gifts. It's important for you to recognize the world is waiting for you to share your talents and your abilities. And you're not in it by yourself. I'd say connect with other people of like mind. Find people who are going to sharpen you, challenge you. Get off that couch to find out what can you do today to put you in a better position for tomorrow post-COVID. Post-COVID's going to happen. We're going to get by. We're going to get through. We're going to overcome. So I'm going to tell you, find out what's stopping you and understand that false evidence appearing real and push your way through it. Ask God to give you the stamina that you need. And there are people, there are resources. There's so much out there that you just got to tap into it and find out. Again, check online, just start doing more of the research, and then also know that this too is going to pass, and how will you position yourself right now to get prepared for next year, next month, next week.
Wow, amazing. And Melissa, what about you? What would you say to a woman trying to get out there?
I think first to embrace your resting season, because I think for me, I'm always just like Jackie was saying, I'm always on the go. So I don't ever have time to really slow down and hear God's voice. And so when the quarantine /Corona/COVID happened, I was upset. I was like, I have all this to do. I have this to do and I have this to do. And I had to say, you know what? Let me sit in this for a moment. And that's when I really, really heard from God. And that's when I saw the clear vision of God is about to do something new with my artwork. And that's when it started happening. And so for me, I think for a creative that's trying to create, give yourself some room to explore, watch more movies, read more books, really, really pour into yourself. Because when people ask me, what inspires your art? What inspires that? I said, really, it's my time alone of reflection, my time alone of really developing my internal voice creatively. And so when you actually go through your life as you try to be that creator, it's important that you create something authentic and that you get ideas that are really unique to yourself. And so the journey of 1,000 miles, as they always say, is the first step. I think a lot of us are afraid to take that first step because we think we're going to fail and we don't really give ourselves grace and room to do so. But at least start somewhere. And also, I think the camaraderie of being with other women or even other creatives is very important because even talking to Jackie or talking to you, Lorea, it's like, you know what? I'm not in this alone. So the blessing of having friendship or having connections with other people, take some time every week to talk to somebody you haven't talked to pour into somebody you haven't talked to. And as you pour and do things for others, somebody has your name or your idea in their mind to want to be a blessing to. So the culminating thought is to work on self, embrace your rest, and reach out to somebody else. And that's how my ideas come. It's really when I step back and say, you know what? I'm doing too much. Even now, I've had 5 interviews already in the past 4 days. I was like, let me calm down for the rest of the weekend. I'm unplugging because you have to learn the power of no. Because, people like us, we'll say yes to everything and have nothing left for ourselves. And so
that's so
I'm going to spend time and enjoy this alone time because they're trying to open the country up for real, and we'll lose all of this valuable time.
That's right.
Wow. You guys have just blessed my soul. I'm always just all in. I'm like, man, I'm forgetting all my questions. I'm just listening and soaking in all that you guys are saying. I mean, you all are just amazing for what you do. And like I said, just your resilience and what you bring to our community as Black women is just phenomenal. And we appreciate you all for that. But as we close, I want you guys to give me one word that describes your journey to you. Just one word that you think about that describes your journey. I kind of stumped y'all for once. Okay, go ahead, Jackie.
I say courage. I love courage, and I would say courage because with courage comes taking risks. Courage means having faith to know. When I have courage, I have had to really go and fight for people on the job, outside the job, that others wouldn't fight for. I had the courage to have courage to speak up for them. I had to have courage to take risks, to change different careers 3 different times that kept moving me forward. I had to have courage to walk into a boardroom, many rooms, guys, over the last 25 years, and I'm the only one that looks like me. I had to have courage to take what it looks like. So for me, Lorea, I'd say faith/courage defines my whole career, and being able to handle adversity, part of courage, work ethic, just all of that to me is being courageous.
Wow. Love it. Love it. And what about you, Melissa?
I think for me, my word would be the exception. I feel like God has allowed me to be the exception to every rule. I am not your average artist. I haven't trained for this. And so every time I get to a larger platform, I said, God has made me the exception to every rule. And that's what he has promised for us. And so I think a lot of people lose out on blessings because they don't believe they deserve them. And so I said, well, Lord, thank you for making me the exception to every rule. When it comes to this, and that, I said, I am the exception. I don't have to go by whatever all the regular standards. And so I'm just grateful that I'm one of God's special ones, and he's allowed me to defy all the odds to get to where I am. So I am the exception to every rule.
I'm going to start saying that I am the exception to the rule.
I'm telling you.
We are. We really
are. Yes, ma'am.
That's right. That's right. We really are. Oh my goodness, you guys! I could talk to y'all for about 5 hours. Look, I say that every like, oh, we just need to keep talking because I'm just enjoying what you guys are providing, and as you all are pouring out, I know that God is giving you all so much more back. And thank you so much, Jackie, for being here. Thank you for your spirit. Thank you so much, Melissa. I saw. Look, on another note, I saw Tabitha Brown on Instagram, and I saw her outfit and I said, that's Melissa Mitchell. And I looked under there because Melissa is one thing that God has given you, Melissa, is you are distinct in everything that you have. And for me to even know that off rip that it was your design that she was wearing, I was like, how did I know that? But God has given her a distinct, your artwork is just so distinct. And we are so grateful for your creativity.
Let me tell you about that testimony. So Tabitha, about a month ago, I got an order from Tabitha Brown. Because I'm not on TikTok. I don't watch Vegan Chef, so I have didn't know anything about it.
Uh-huh.
And she said, hey, I'm trying to order XYZ. It seems to be out of stock. I was like, if it's out of stock, it's out of stock. I'm like, I don't know. And I said, well, let me see if I have another one. So because I try to be very diplomatic, because a lot of people are like, well, girl, what you got over there? I was like, if it's out of stock, then it's out of stock. And so I went and checked for it, and I had it in the back. I was like, okay, well, I may have it. And so I went to check for it, and I said, I'll just ship it to you. I'm telling you, I didn't know this woman off the street at all. And so she said, God just told me to connect with you. I'm like, okay, well, God bless you too. Okay, not knowing. And so 2 weeks later, she's like, hey, check Instagram. We're in New York Times. I said, I'm sorry. New York. So I'm looking, I don't have a copy with me. I said, New York Times? She is in New York Times in the outfit that I dug up and found for her. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. And so just showing me that somebody has you on their mind, that they want to be a blessing to you, and they want to include you in what they're doing. And so not knowing any of that. So of course, the next week I sent her some more stuff. And 2 weeks later, she ends up in Vogue.
Wow.
And she had a huge opportunity coming up, and I'll be a part of that as well. So it's just like, I can't even describe what God is doing with my ministry. Of course, people know it, but when they go to my page and know my story, they're encouraged in faith to say, you know what, if Melissa can get her stuff to the highest of platforms, I know God can do it for me. And I tell everybody all the time, I had no idea who this woman was. I was just being a blessing to be a blessing, and she was trying to bless me, and I was trying to bless her. So the blessings were like stopping each other at the door. Right. I think that's what's so unique about being in purpose and in the spirit, because when you do things from the heart and as unto God, the windows are wide open.
Always.
Amen.
Wide open. And the more blessed, what a difference. You were looking to give things away, and look how God just reciprocated and gave more blessings. So the more we give, the more God gives back to us.
Yes,
absolutely. Most definitely. Well, thank you. And Jackie, continue on helping our HBCUs. We're excited about that with your new pivot as well. And Melissa, keep on doing what you're doing. We're proud of you, the both of you, and can't wait to see you guys. So it's another episode of the Pink Table Talk. We've got to end, you guys, but thank you so much for hanging out with us. We've got more content, great shows coming for you. So please continue to watch Hope TV, Pink Table Talk. I'm your host, Lorea Reid, and we'll see you the next time. Have a good one.